Hello. Welcome to Sekiro in 2D. So I'm Cadarev. I usually run different games. But for when things inevitably turn out not very well, I have two colleagues with me who actually know what's happening in this game because I don't know. So we have Etienne.
Hello, everyone.
We have Eshma.
Hey.
And this is Muramasa. And I will be doing a very poor choice here by running the 1 HP mode. That will be fun. And we can start in 3, 2, 1, go.
And good luck with that.
Thank you. So first thing we do is we switch controls because they're horrendous.
Oh my god, I'm so glad I'm not the only one who does that.
Yeah.
I'm the only one.
Run because
I'm the only one who playing by default.
I can't do that.
I can't play it with the stick. It just does not work. Like for some inputs, it's not a great thing to have.
So this is a side-scrolling action RPG. I don't know how many other genres I can attach to it, but so we go usually from left to right or right to left and try to not take this long for a simple fight, but good start.
I mean, that is basically one of the things that will just happen throughout the run because most, let's say about 90% of the encounters in the game, not including boss fights and a couple scripted fights in the intro section here, are random. And as you can already see, every fight takes about, let's say, 10 to 15 seconds. And they will slow you down, obviously. They cost you time. On the other hand, we do want to do some of the fight because obviously they will give us money and they will give us souls. Yes, there are souls in this game, which we will need to upgrade and or forge different weapons in the game, because that is basically our skill tree. In other games you have like the skill tree which you can unlock different abilities with. In this game you do this by forging new weapons, new katanas, which are stronger and have different abilities, and you go down this massive skill tree with about 108 swords in it. Obviously we're not going to unlock all of them during the speedrun. That would just be way too much. But we do need to do certain fights in order to have the required amount of souls in order to be able to forge these weapons at certain points in the game in order to keep up with the power level of the enemies, because obviously we'll be very underleveled. Even though the enemies do scale to our level, they will still be way more powerful than we are in the later stages of the game.
But it's still very important to have the best katana possible at each fight to making them happen faster. So we can speak a little bit about how we made action in this game. So there is basically two mode of the direction of our character, Momohime. So the mode like this is passive. You just have to run and just basically do some platforming, for example, to grab souls or items on the ground. And there is battle mode like this when you draw your katanas and fighting against enemy like this. Basically, we can speak a little bit about the so many drops that unfortunately
that are not the ones.
Yeah, because we will speak about that later. But also during this fight, you can have random drops, and ninjas are used to drop the best item of for the speedrun, the smoke bomb. So it's a ninja smoke that allows you to skip an entire fight. So that's win a hell a lot of time.
There's basically no other way to escape a fight once you're locked into it other than using a smoke bomb. And the ninjas will drop smoke bombs, however, not in the tutorial where we are right now. They will after we leave this place. So getting like 3 drops already. It's just, you gotta love RNG if you run this game, because there's a hell of a lot of it in it.
So we're coming close to the very first boss. Speaking of the...
this is the scripted fight. This is the scripted fight.
Oh yeah, the very last one. Yeah. So speaking of the interface of the game, so at the top left we have once again... That's so rare. So many healing. That's a useless item basically, because as it say, Cadarev play on a 1 HP mode. You can see the life bar on the top left. It's 1 HP. So basically, it's a one-hit kill mode. So it's a very hard difficulty level, but it's also the fastest one to complete this game. So you have to play in the hardest difficulty to be the fastest in this game. So that's kind of interesting as a speedrun.
It actually might sound harder than it actually is, having a 1 HP or one-hit kill mode, because while you do have your HP in the upper left corner of the screen, the more important thing is actually the 3 weapons or the 3 katanas that you have equipped at any one time. You can see those equipped in the top middle of the screen where it says Misty Slash with the 2 other weapons to the right of it. And Cadarev can freely switch between these 3 weapons anytime he is in a fight with the press of a button. There's a couple things to know about that. First of all, you can use special abilities with your swords. For example, with the sword he has equipped, you can use the Misty Slash. Every time you use a special ability, it will reduce the durability of the weapon by just a little bit, so you are limited in how often you can use the special abilities. However, that bar will also go down if you block an attack. Basically, it's the durability of the weapon. Think of it like that. And as long as he has durability on a weapon, his HP will not deplete because Momohime will actually auto-block attacks. So, you know, you are allowed to take hits, so to speak, as long as you can block them. However, some enemies and most of the bosses have unblockable attacks, so if Cadarev would get hit by those, obviously it would be one-hit kill because he only has 1 HP. But, you know, it is a little bit more lenient than you might think, being a one-hit KO.
Yeah.
Another thing to note is that you can see his weapons, again, in the top middle there, flashing white, and that means that he has the EI attack ready. If he were to switch weapons right now, he would do a screen-wide attack, just like that actually heals all of the enemies and deals a good amount of damage. And that always takes a little bit to recharge. You can see it is not flashing white right now. That means that attack is not ready. And it will just recharge after a couple seconds when he would use it again.
Yeah, you also saw me pause there a few times, so the boss HP is very scuffed in this game. So you see the big bar at the bottom and the small one at the top. Whenever you deplete the big bar, a certain fragment of the small bar will... wow.
Good fight.
The Blue Monk is the very first boss of this game, is a kind of tutorial boss of this game to learn you about those life bars. That's really interesting.
You can see it's pretty much a damage spawn. It doesn't pose too much of a threat. But yeah, so whenever you deplete the large health bar, a small portion of the small one will deplete. And it depends on how long it takes you to deplete the big bar, which determines then how much it depletes from the small bar. And it's a bit scuffed because as long as you deplete it in less than 15 seconds, only 1/10 of the small bar will deplete. Between 15 and 22.5 seconds, it's 2/10. Then between 22.5 and 30 seconds, it's 3/10. Oops, I did not mean to save there. And yeah, as long as you take 30 or more seconds, you will deplete 4/10 of the small health bar. Which kind of adds a really weird dynamic to, especially the earlier boss fights, which maybe you saw me sometimes peek at the timer there. I was trying to see how far I was into the fight. But basically, after like the 3rd boss or so, it really doesn't matter and much anymore because it just takes so long anyways to deplete the health bar. You will always hit the max threshold.
So basically what that means in short terms is that if you just mindlessly attack the first couple of bosses, you will actually go slower because you have to go through more of their health bars. So he's kind of trying to time out his attacks, you know, and just stand around and do nothing for a while if he has to in order to actually deal the maximum amount of damage to the boss, which is a very weird way to fight a boss. I've never seen it in any other game. I didn't know it before I met you guys, actually, and you told me about it. That was like just randomly saving or losing time on boss, and I had no idea why that was happening until I was aware of that mechanic.
That was discovered by a TAS. There is a huge TAS community. Some TAS maker on this game, especially because, as we said, there is a lot of random, but also to manipulate those life bars. This is really interesting to see, to them explain how does it works, and the things that's really interesting to see the TAS waiting for eating the bosses. So basically, we just have to a lot of backtracking to do in this part of the game. So it's definitely probably a great moment for donation.
7door7 donated $5. I disagree with what was said before. I've seen Cadarev's practice. Ninjas do not drop smoke bombs. Trust me. Have fun, smiley face.
I mean, we've seen this so far, right? They dropped something, but it was not smoke bombs. Again, the thing why we want the smoke bombs is, as you explained earlier, it's the only way for us to get out of a fight if we do not want to take that fight. We can buy more smoke bombs at the shop, and we will do so. However, in the lower right corner of the screen, you can see how much money we have. And obviously, we do need money to also buy food items, which we'll use to buff ourselves, like our strength and stuff like that. And smoke bombs are the most expensive item that we can buy at the shops, costing 80 mon. Which is a lot. Like at the moment, we can only afford 5 of these, and that will not necessarily get better over the course of the run. And we absolutely do need about 6 of them in both Chapter 6 and 7 later on, because the fights are just hard. because we are on one-hit mode. There are very tough enemies, and they will take a long while. You will lose minutes if you take those fights. So we absolutely do want to skip those if they would randomly happen.
Yeah.
Which is another part, because they can just decide to not show up, but we need about 6 of these smoke bombs to make absolutely sure that we can skip all of them.
This is the shop here. So you will see Cadarev buying lots of cabbage and also one of the equipment. The cabbage...
the recipe.
The recipe, we do not more equip this item. The cabbage is basically, probably the most important the cooking tool on the speedruns, because it gives you extra power attack, and that's really useful, because at the very beginning of the game you saw probably the damage attack of your katanas is around 14 and
you can actually see it on the screen right now. In the top there it says like strength 4 plus 15. That plus 15 comes from the cabbage through that cabbage.
That's crazy at the beginning.
So it basically quadruples your strength, which is a massive increase.
That's at the very beginning of the game. This is absolutely broken. This boost is mandatory to go through the fight at a very high speed. So we got into the second, into Act 2. We can probably speak a tiny bit about the story of the game, but it's really interesting. We will not dive too far into it. So Momohime gets possessed by some sort of spirit named Jinkuro. And because of that, because two souls cannot be on the same body at the same times, they have to take care, be sure to avoid this situation. So this is why they search the demon blade that can split two souls at once.
To be fair, it was an accident on Jinkuro's part, the guy who attacked her, because he was actually supposed to attack her future husband and swap souls with him, but Momohime just, jumped in front of him and tried to protect her future husband, and that is why Jinkuro's soul is now inhabiting Momohime's body.
We will meet the husband of Momohime as not the next boss, but the boss after that, and this is a really interesting fight. So we are in this beautiful town. Honestly, this game is such a beauty for the Wii, because this console it's originally comes out on Wii.
2009, I think.
Yeah, and this console have a reputation to don't be an HD, console. Look at this game; it's so beautiful, honestly.
But to be fair, we are not playing on a Wii right now. Cadarev is running the PlayStation Vita remaster, which released in 2012. Which not only features, the game itself, but it also has some DLC chapters. There are like 4 of them. They are a little bit shorter than the main game, obviously, but they're also pretty fun, because you actually get to experience a whole lot of different characters with a whole lot of different abilities. So they actually play differently than Momohime would.
So this is a fight I would usually smoke bomb, but since I'm at the marathon, I don't want to run out of smoke bombs later on.
The problem with these ghosts is you can't actually hit them with your sword. You have to hit these blue souls that they release back at them. As you can see, it can take a while for that to actually happen. So that is also always a fight that you are kind of a little bit scuffed to take if you do not have enough smoke bombs, because you don't want to use a smoke bomb for that, because it's not a very dangerous fight. It's just a fight that takes a lot of time to get through.
Exactly. And as beautiful as this area of the game is, it's also one of the worst to fight in, because of the small ledges you have above the enemies. They can get stuck there. And what you basically want to do in these small fights is you want to group up the enemies and then just combo them from one side to the other side of the screen. And if there's a ledge above, then that's pretty much impossible. We
can speak a little bit about the combo of the game. There is basically only one button to attack, and if you spam it, you have Tengu or not.
They fly around the screen, they go off the screen, and then come back, and it's a massive time to fight them. So
definitely,
that is definitely one of the fights that you do not want to see if you can help it, and if you do, you want to smoke.
Yeah, especially because I already had a fight earlier on in that screen. I was a bit confused. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. About the combo of the game, basically Momohime combo on 4 hits, 4 different hits. But as you can probably see, Cadarev cancelled the very last hit with a sliding. And that's a very powerful attack, honestly, and also allow you to immediately redo the beginning of the combo. So basically, the classical combo when you have to fight on the ground is 3 hits, slide, 3 hits, slide, and so on and so on and so on. And you're following the enemy like that. And this is basically the best way to DPS in this game.
Speaking of the RNG again, we just had a fight against 6 ninjas. Not only did we have the fight, but all 6 of them didn't drop anything. So
smoke bomb. Tengus again.
This is like the thing about this game, right? It is so random, which makes it so hard to get any kind of consistency going in your runs. Because obviously, you want to skip as many fights if you can or if you must, but you also want to take some of them because, as we said earlier, we need the souls from them to forge our blades, but we also need level ups to have enough stats because they go up as we increase in level to actually be able to equip the blades. So it's a constant back and forth between fighting or not fighting enemies, and
This is basically
a lot of juggling.
Yeah. This is basically a Route 1 of Pokemon the game entirely.
So before each boss fight, you have this like small story dump, I guess, where you have to always talk to different NPCs. And same after the boss fight, which hopefully I will get to. Let's see.
So coming up is Van Yudo, the boss of the second act of the game, and he can murder you if he wants to, because he is this wheel monk thingy. Obviously, he will use a lot of fire attacks, but he also has this poison attack. Fun fact: you can get poisoned, but since we are playing on Fury mode, so we only have 1 HP, that doesn't actually do anything to us because poison cannot kill you. So we can get fully poisoned, and it just doesn't matter for us.
You cannot get burned too because of you of 1
exactly.
HP. So basically, we can juggle a little bit. That's what Cadarev will try to do here by this is really hard to do, honestly. The timing is really tough, and also probably the most dangerous pattern of this boss is this dash, because the dash will instantly block your katana, and that's
I just wanted to showcase that.
So as you can see, that drive half of the life bar of the katana if you take only 1 hit, fortunately, on this dash. And if your katana get destroyed, you took damage, so you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah, and these puddles of flames you want to extinguish as soon as possible. If you get trapped in between two, he starts to do his ultimate attack, or whatever you want to call it, and it takes too long.
Like, he will just go into the middle of the screen and just constantly bombard you with fireballs, and you won't be able to block all of them. Well, I mean, you will start blocking most of them, but eventually your sword will break, and since you're viewing mode, that's basically a death.
Yes.
So Cadarev wants to make sure that he specifically extinguishes these fire puddles on foot just by attacking.
And as you can see, what we said earlier, I can't really die from the fire. I take 0 damage per tick, which is good.
One thing to keep in mind, as Cadarev explained earlier, there is a timing element to the boss fights where you need to wait a certain amount of time for each health bar in order to actually deal maximum amount of damage from the small health bar. And obviously that doesn't apply to the last health bar because there is no more second health bar to drain from. So whenever a boss is at its last health bar, you just want to go in and quick finish it as fast as you can.
That was a really clean fight.
I take that, except for the part where I almost died.
So we can speak a little bit about the second very important item of this game, the bronze mirror. You probably saw Cadarev buy 2 of them on the very last shop. This is a very important item also for the speed of this game, because that's teleporting you to the last save you did. So of course we were using that to escape most of those dungeon area. We got boss area in this most of the different acts. So here we go. And going back immediately to the next area of the game. So,
but what that also means is that we cannot make any safety saves before boss fight or anything, because every time Cadarev saves, it is for a strategic reason in the speedrun in order to maximize the value he gets out of the bronze mirrors, so he can go back to a certain point where the next story beat that is going to happen is the closest to him. So every time you actually see him save at one of these mirrors, it is because it is a save that he will use later to use the bronze mirror on, so to speak.
Exactly. So now we can also speak a little bit more about how we will organize the... perhaps...
Sure, that we'll get some smoke bombs, right? Right? Well, if I could hit them, that would be...
So you can immediately tell if they will drop something when a golden orb floats out of the dead body and goes into you. And for the ninjas, it will always be a smoke bomb. I don't think that.
Yeah, it's always be a smoke.
Well, except for in the intro.
Yeah, except for the intro, where we got 4 drops off of them. So thank you, RNG. Much appreciated. Not.
So basically, we can speak a little bit about how. Too bad. Thank you. Thank you. That you have to fight them. We have a lot of damage because of a strength boost. To organize, our katanas, we can also speak about a tiny glitch that happens during especially boss fight. For example, when you select a katanas, the number 1, 2, and 3 coming from the left, of course, if you enter a boss area, for example, with your katana 3, you will be instantly, the game will push you coming back immediately on katana 1, but it keeps the damage to the katana you add as entering the boss area. So that's kind of useful. For example, to having a big katana like this, because there is 2 types of them, as number 3 to select them, and pushing back under very high speed katana like this one, entering a boss area. Basically, we will only use the tiny katanas like this one, the speedy ones. We will not normally see the big sword. That's kind of useful sometimes if you're like me, not very good at the game, you know, because that can allow you to go for air combo. Those frogs have a hell of a lot of HP. Yeah,
You do not want to see those.
Yeah.
But going a little bit more detail, what Etienne just said. Now that glitch only works on boss fights, obviously, because that is where the weapons are auto-forced to switch. However, should Cadarev have to switch his katanas during a boss fight, that glitch will go away, and every katana will return to its original value. Which also means, if you remember, his katana durability, so to speak, is the only thing that keeps him alive, because otherwise he would get hit and immediately die. So he's not really allowed to switch his katanas, but obviously he might have to, which would obviously slow down the boss fight again, unless he has a whetstone to go ahead and repair his katana.
Yeah, and I can already tell you I will most likely not make too much use of that glitch, just because I'm in a marathon. I really kind of want to just throw away one of my sword slots for something that I don't really use.
Yeah, usually how we would arrange our katanas is we would have the katana that we want to actually use in the first slot because of that glitch. In the second slot we would have a katana with a very high attack value to make use of the glitch. And then the third slot is mostly inhabited by the peony blade, which Cadarev actually fused at the end of Act 1, because it is a long blade. It doesn't have a very huge attack value later on in the game. However, it has a passive bonus that makes it so you get 5% more money at the end of every fight. And over the course of the whole run, that will actually compound and actually allow us to buy everything we need to, including the odd smoke bomb or 2 more than we would actually need.
Yeah.
But seeing how this run goes, I think we will need all the smoke bombs and help we can get. So here we go.
Those tiny boosts are really interesting in each katana. There is one boosting the amount of money you get, another one the amount of experience, another one the amount of souls, and so on and so on. So,
but obviously you only get the effect as long as you have it equipped in one of your 3 katana slots.
Also, the souls bar of the katanas, we didn't explain that, but for the 2 katanas we actually doesn't use, the souls bars recovering by time, basically. Yes. So that's kind of important if a katana is low on health or low on souls, to let him into the, I don't know the name, to recover it.
Again,
what
you
a very bad RNG with all of those ghosts, honestly.
Again, you can see the durability of the weapons in the top middle there, where it says Chaos Roar. That is, or the bar beneath Chaos Roar is the durability of the currently equipped weapon. To the right of that, we have 2 more icons with the other 2 katanas we have equipped, and around those, this teal-shaped or teal-colored diamond is the durability of those weapons. So you can see at one glance how in shape your katanas are at any one point.
I think we are in the boss area of the Act 3, so before we reach the husband of Momohime, I think this is a good time for tiny donations before the duel.
That guy from Avatar donated $5. My cabbages.
Well, don't worry, we're actually eating the cabbages this time, okay? We're not just strolling them around on the floor or anything. We're actually eating them. We're making use of them.
And also we saw Cadarev kill a Fizen.
Yes.
It was a really good encounter, honestly, because we will use that to decrease the amount of possibility by using an overcook, to decrease the amount of possibility to having those guys are used to jump. So.
He just really wanted not to be in the frame, And of course, the funny thing is, if an enemy goes out of bounds, there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to wait until they come back in.
Yep.
And also another item that Cadarev takes was the Tengu Mask. Tengu Mask is one of the extra equip. Basically you have 4 equips in this game, the 3 katanas and 1 extra one. And the extra one give you some extra stats that allow you, for example, to equip katanas that you're normally not being able to equip if you don't have the amount of strength and vitality needed to doing that.
And again, strength and vitality only go up when you get a level up, other than equipping a specific accessory that increases those stats. Okay, up we are onto the third boss of the game. This is Yukinojo, as we established earlier. This is supposed to be Momohime's future husband. We got into the story in a little bit more. For now, he is a samurai-type enemy, meaning he has a sword of his own. And it basically just works like a mirror of us, where you have to decrease the durability of his sword so it breaks, and then you can actually start doing damage to himself. And, you know, as we said earlier, we do need to wait anyway a little bit before we completely deplete his health bar in order to do the maximum amount of damage to the second health bar, or the smaller health bar, rather. So that kind of works in our favor. Another little thing about Yukinojo is you can see him go into this drawing stance where he flashes blue and then tries to draw his sword. That attack will always hit you. You know, it will always deal damage to your health bar. You can actually see Cadarev herself drop to 0 whenever he gets hit by that. However, if you keep holding the block button, Momohime will actually recover while she is in the air and actually recover a little bit of health too, so that is why we do not die when we get hit by that attack. Which also means that we can just stay on the offensive pretty much the whole fight. Now, the somersault attack that you saw Cadarev do in just a moment, you can do that by holding down or crouching and holding the attack button for a short while and then releasing. It is actually meant as an attack to quickly break an enemy's blade, so it's very good to use that in order to get rid of his katana and be able to deal damage to his actual health.
So basically, the way to deal with Yukinojo when he has, when he has a katana that didn't broke is to use this attack here, to just, block it. And after that, just using, as we said, the classical combo, that's free hit, slide, free hit, slide, free hit, slide, as much as you can. If at the end of the big life bar, Yukinojo get project into the air, this is a good moment for a juggling combo. But as we said, it's kind of difficult to pull that off, because you have to stop in the air the beginning of your combo to continue to juggle with Yukinojo before it touches the ground. Because as soon as he will touch the ground, he will get the possibility to get another katanas like this. So
and the controls there are pretty floaty. I always think it's like really hard to juggle him like that. If you get like the perfect height basically to do that, like Cadarev just did there, that's very good to just keep on damaging Yukinojo while it's in the area there. And we're down to the last health bar,
that's
so
the main issue.
Hopefully this fight will be over in just a second. Also, you can see these red flames around Yukinojo. That is basically what happens to, I think, all of the bosses actually from now on when they get to low health, where they go to an enraged mode where they will deal more damage. They're a little bit faster, you know, all these kind of things. Hopefully that will not be an issue during a speedrun. One more sword breakage. So it was really unfortunate that Yukinojo actually decided to grab another blade here, but that was a really good fight.
Yeah, really good fight, and a good use to the quick draw at the very end to instantly break the katana. That can be useful, but of course, as you see, that's lose a little bit of time because that frees the game when you use it. So it's not optimal as a speedrun.
But you know, it's still faster at the end to just break that last blade to just end the fight then and there than having to wait around it.
This is the soul of Yukinojo basically just here, but because sometimes Momohime is way more kind than the evil souls, and because she stopped Jinkuro for killing their future husband, basically.
Let's actually go into the story a little bit more at that point. Like we established, you know, Jinkuro, the green soul, is actually inhabiting Momohime's body at the moment because, you know, Jinkuro was dying, so he was looking for another worthy swordsman to inhabit his body to prolong his life. He was choosing Yukinojo for that, but again, Momohime jumped in front of him, and that is why Jinkuro and Momohime swapped souls. That freaked out Momohime quite responsibly, I think. Our soul ran away to that graveyard where we found her in the beginning, and there was that monk Rankai. And he actually went ahead and stole Momohime's soul away from her. But since Momohime is obviously, or Momohime's soul is the original inhabitor of Momohime's body, the body would wither and die if that soul wouldn't be returned to the body. And that is why Jinkuro searched for Momohime's soul in the second act. Yeah. We then found her soul, so you know they were kind of reunited in a way. However, obviously Jinkuro doesn't want to inhibit Momohime's body, he wants Jinkuro. And that is why we were on the lookout for him. Or rather, not only do we need Yukinojo's body in a way, but we also need the corresponding demon sword to actually use the soul transfer technique, because that is obviously important. And obviously Yukinojo would know where that sword is, because it belongs to his clan. That is why we now sought out Yukinojo in the third act. However, you know, we defeated him, and he told us he doesn't know where the blade, or he knows where the blade is, but he doesn't have it at the moment because it got stolen from him by a rival samurai clan. And he also told Momohime that, hey, you know, the marriage that was arranged between us, it's kind of a fluke, because it was only done to basically ruin Momohime's samurai clan. So, you know, he never loved her in any way. And it's a bit sad. Yeah. Because, you know, she was... it's never really said, I think, if she loves him or not, but, you know, she was okay with the arranged marriage because that was just the way it was during that time. But, you know, just being straight up told that, hey, you know, I don't love you, I just want to ruin your family, and that is why I want to marry you, that is a bit of a trouble. So anyway, we are now on the lookout for said sword that would allow us to swap the swords back and forth again. Yeah. They told us, you know, to go to that other samurai clan. However, a lot of monks are blocking the way there. And, you know, monks are dangerous to us because they could exorcise Jinkuro's soul out of Momohime's body. So that's why we're taking a round trip through Mount Hida, the new snow area that we are on our own.
At the very beginning of this act, the game say to you to go to the left, but that's not the fastest way, basically. It's faster to going back to the right on the second area. This is a very bad fight because those flying, even if they are ninjas and can drop smoke bomb, those flying ninjas explode when you kill them, and that can kill you, of course, in one time because it's an instantly destruction of your katanas if you're into the explosion.
So what you can do is you can jump up in the air and start attacking them a little bit, but they don't have a health bar, so you don't know how much health they have. So you have to be a little bit careful. They do throw shuriken at you, which you can reflect back at them and try to kill them that way. And this is actually the best fight that you can get, these woolly flying eyeballs, because, you know, you just wait a little while and then do the eye attack. When you have it, it will just instantly kill all of them because they have so little health.
This is a scripted fight here because you fall into the pits after the 3 brokes, but fortunately it's there is a very interesting no smoke bomb. There is a
oh, thank you for pointing that out. I didn't notice.
There is a very interesting item here in this pit. This is
the hotpot cuisine.
Yeah, exactly. That's allow you to cook the foot ninjas boost. That allow you to decrease the amount of possibility to having a fight during when you are under this this boost, and that's really useful in combination with the smoke bombs, especially in Act 6 and 7. Oh, very good. Yes, that's a very good one. Omura stones. The stones like Omura, like the Hio stones we see a little bit earlier, can recover your source bar on your katanas, and that's really useful in difficult situations, especially against bosses. And also, if you don't want, for example, if you want to, example, using some extra special attacks in fight. We didn't speak about a little bit things about special attacks. There are also a lot of iframes you get during those special attacks. That can be really useful in difficult situations, especially for some of them who, for example, move Momohime in a certain direction. This is a very safe way to travel.
Also, this is interesting because there are actually 2 modes of fighting in this game. Like, you saw us being locked into a fight whenever, you know, we triggered one randomly throughout the levels. However, there's a second type of fight, which are these. These are scripted to always happen when you enter this particular screen. However, they are open. That means you are not locked to the screen where they happen, but they stretch around the whole area. And you actually do not have to fight any of the enemies, that you can just, you know, advance through them. However, obviously, you know, the enemies will try to hinder you and makes it a little bit difficult, but it won't be a time loss because you can just naturally escape those fights. Now that we have got the hotpot cuisine and we have now access to our second recipe that we will use throughout the run, you know, we had the cabbage stew, which increases our strength, and now we have the pheasant stew, which Etienne just explained, which makes it so that we have a 5% decreased chance of getting a random encounter whenever we would be able to trigger one.
It's now ninja art. I was ninja feats.
I think it's called that in Japanese, if I am correct. Oh, hello. Use the translation then. And, you know, 5% isn't a lot, but it does add up over the course of the run, so it's just a nice thing to have, I suppose. Also, that boar is just totally useless for us because we will never get a recipe to make use of that boar meat. We would rather have a pheasant, so we do not need to buy more of those.
Yeah, but I guess still better than getting one of the really bad encounters. Can I get that?
There is so many very useful items in this Act 4 on the ground. Smoke bombs, bronze mirror, stones, and some stuff. We just see another smoke bombs on the ground here. Really useful. Yeah, cool. No, we can escape this fight because yeah, frogs have a lot of HP here.
But especially the big ones. They are just tanky bastards.
And we are now at Ida, the highest place in this in this game. So there will be a lot of rooms like this or very vertical, and this is really interesting about how the movement, especially jumps, works in this game. Basically, you have a double jump, but you can also stay a little bit in the air by holding the jump buttons. I don't know if Cadarev setting up a jump buttons, but for example, at the default section of configuration of the game, this is the stick up with the jump buttons. So and we will use, of course, the save because we have to go in the left of this region after we beat Ipondatara, the boss number 4 in this game.
Which is a very interesting boss. We'll get to that in a moment. I just find it always a little bit funny, you know, you are after this boss fight, after the boss arena, you're just supposed to go to the left from where we just were at the save point. However, to get to the boss fight, which you have to trigger first, you go up into the right, which is a complete different direction where we actually came from, where we just supposed to go around that mountain. So why? Why?
Basically, the reason why we cannot skip the boss, because you probably see from the beginning of the game, you have those barriers like this, and you need to beat the boss to get a katanas that can block those barriers.
Is there one on the left?
Yeah.
Oh,
there is one.
Okay, never mind me then. But yeah, that's basically where the quote-unquote Metroidvania element of the game comes in, because after every boss fight you get a very specific demon blade which allows you to destroy one of these, colored barriers. You get a red one, orange, yellow, basically the rainbow colors.
Yeah.
And
until white was getting by the final boss, but for post-gaming with special dungeon and some stuff.
Which is actually kind of nice for us, because it gives us a free, very powerful weapon. However, as we established earlier, you need a certain amount of strength and vitality to be able to equip those. And since we are very low level throughout our run, it might not be that we can actually equip them right the moment that we get them, because we just simply do not have the stats required to equip them.
Exactly. To trigger some hidden ending of this game, because there is we actually play Momohime and we'll do the very first ending of the game, but there is also 2 other endings for this character, considering if you get the two specific katanas for finishing the game, and also the very last one of the 108 katanas. But there is also another character that we will not see, that's Kizuke.
Yeah.
But honestly, as we speak a little bit with Aishma, the any percent Momohime category is more interesting than any percent Kizuke. Especially, for example, the next boss will be a really great example about speedrun strats we can use in this game.
Before you get that, let's quickly talk about Kisuke right here, because the way this game works, they have both characters that you can play on one save file, one or the other, Momohime and Kisuke, and they have basically completely different, not completely different stories, but most of the regions are recycled because they go through the same ones. Of the boss areas and the bosses themselves are completely new, meaning we have to actually do another route. If you actually take a look at the map, like Momohime goes from the east to the west and Kisuke goes from the west to the east. And the way how it works is the forge trees of the katanas are separated. So Momohime doesn't have access to Kisuke's weapons, and Kisuke doesn't have access to Momohime weapons until you have completed the first story of both of them, where the forge trees actually merge. And let's talk about that a little bit more after our boss fight, because we have...
Yeah, this is a really important boss fight. Ipondatara, boss number 4, have 3 different phases: the foot phase, the head phase, and the true form. The foot phase is basically the very first one, is the worst one.
I hate it.
Yeah, we really don't want to deal with this foot as soon as possible, and after that, by using a speed, as we see a start, this is the worst attack possible. This one, the kick.
Because it takes time, but it also will instantly break your blade, killing you if it hits you, and has a very wide hitbox. So it's a very dangerous move if Mondato uses that.
This one?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of RNG.
Well, this one just takes forever to finish.
Yeah. You just have to wait here.
But again, we're getting kind of bailed out by the HP weird scaling mechanism. Can you do something like that?
Perfect. So after we beat this very first air we go form, perfect, we'll go drop in the air to the head form. So here, it's important to only use the projectile of the boss to deal him damage, because if you try to hit him, hit this end or this end, it will generate more projectile, and that will be a very dangerous situation.
Yeah. The issue is it's not just more projectiles; it's like different projectiles that you can return, and they wreck your sword. Yeah. Terrible.
Especially on Fury mode, it's just way safer to only wait for the projectiles, even if it takes longer to get through that phase. However, once we actually are through that phase, we will now face Ipondatara in his true form, which looks a little bit different.
Yeah, The true form is basically the easiest form to get to hit because it's basically this weakness because
it's a bore.
Yeah, it's a bore.
It doesn't do anything.
But to make, as we see, when you deal with the big life bar, that's drop Ipandatara in the next form immediately. So what Cadarev will do is let a tiny part of the bar like this. After the true form, it will going back into the foot form that we doesn't want. So it will break instantly the big life bar like this. Yeah. Nice.
Speaking of RNG,
yeah.
again. Yeah, if that foot swing or that kick rather, had hit Cadarev, then it would just be game over and had to do the whole fight over again. So that was very lucky that the projectile just came in and yeah, I hit that foot instead.
So normally it will draw going back into this true form for the final because the fight have to finish. Oh, this pattern is also kind of rare. There is only 3 patterns here. And there we go. This is that was a very good boss.
Yeah, if you're sensitive to anime, then please avert your eyes after this fight. This becomes very anime very quickly.
Some more.
Because I mean, it is a game set in feudal Japan, so of course we have to have our hot spring moment here.
Of course.
Just a little while, you know. Just
you have been warned.
A bit of eye candy here right now. There are actually more of these hot springs sprinkled throughout the run, which you can use to actually replenish all of your HP. But once again, it takes time to do it, and we don't have need of it because we have 1 HP anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really not that important to us. Anyway, coming back to Kisuke and the sword merging. Once you finish or you've gotten the first ending for both characters and the swords of merge, not the swords of merge, but the forging tree has merged. If you then go to the last sword again, or the new last sword at the end of the tree, and defeat both of the last bosses, or go to the last areas again, you'll face a different final boss with both Momohime and Kisuke, giving you a second ending to the game. After which you are actually able to get the last sword in the game, the Oboro Muramasa, which is actually the name of the game in Japanese. And with that equipped, if you go back to the original final boss in each scenario, you will get a third ending for any of the characters. However, doing that takes a lot of time, so we will actually only see one ending of one character. I don't know if anybody has ever run a true ending, so to speak. It will probably take upwards of 10 hours or something like that.
Yeah, in my I never see anyone. So it's a free world record. If you're watching this, actually. Just recording yourself going for the very last ending of Muramasa the Demon Blade. You will probably have to create a new category in Speedrun.com.
Because the problem is, again, you have to forge all the swords, all 108 of them. And
you have to level up also to equip the Muramasa.
Yeah.
So basically, you can level up until the level 99 in these games. As you can see on the top left, Cadarev is actually level 11. We will probably not pass the level
22. I think it's somewhere between 20 and 23, depending on how many fights you get throughout the run. Like if you are level 19 to 20, you had pretty good RNG because you didn't get a lot of fights. If you are level 21 or over, sorry mate,
could have been better.
He just screwed you over.
So basically, we are in Act 5 and probably one, if it not the most dangerous boss of the entire run.
One of them. Yeah. I mean, the most dangerous so far.
Yeah, like
so far.
At this point, it really ramps up. First 4 are doable. 5, 6, 7 is not so fun.
Come on!
Finally, my smoke bombs have arrived.
Come on!
My smoke bombs have arrived. Come on.
Still jumping. We like ninjas stay on the ground.
Yes.
It's never lucky. It's like, if you get those 4 drops in the tutorial, you best just reset because your RNG is just spent.
Yes, that's how it works.
You won't recover from that. That's not possible.
So once again, it's a save because we want to start from here for the next by thinking for the next act already, Act 6. So here nothing's to buy basically in this shop. So we'll just continue until the bottom left of this area because this is where the boss is. This is a really I believe. Okay, no.
Yeah, but speaking of the shops real quick, while there are a lot of shops sprinkled throughout the areas of the game, they all have a different inventory, so you can't buy all the same things at every shop. So you actually have to be mindful what you're able to buy at each and every shop, and you have to do your shopping at a specific point in time. There's no way of coming back to that if you do not have the necessary money to buy everything that you need. Which is another thing that you have to keep in mind and kind of route around during the speedrun, because we need that money.
Yeah.
So, entering this next area, this next boss area, there is basically lots of fight possible with flying ninjas outside. So there is this is definitely a place where smoke bombs are normally very useful. But as we said, we literally now begins to watch and to pay attention of how many smoke bombs do we have, because it's really important to stack them for Act 6 and 7 for a very particular reasons, because there is definitely a fight that can lose you a minute.
Yeah, these musketeer guys are not very kind to your sword gauge, and you can encounter them in normal fights here, which is also one of the ones you don't really want to take.
Yeah, ideally you want between, well, let's say 7 to 8 smoke bombs at this point in the game. So we only have 5, so whenever Cadarev goes into a fight, he will probably take in order to save on them, because starting with the next chapter, we need at least 6 of them in order to make it safely through the boss area.
This is that can be really a disaster to enter, for example, the boss area of Act 6 or 7 without any smoke bombs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically a death sentence.
Yeah.
Well,
this is death. This is dead run, basically, if that happens.
Not only does it take a lot of time to get through these fights when you get them, but they're also very dangerous, as they have a lot of attacks that can instantly break your blade. And on Fury mode, again, it's an instant death, and you have to do that whole fight over again. And GG's.
Oh my god, such a beauty. Every time I see this game, you see this relief behind us. So, and also the music, we didn't speak about that.
I was just going to say that.
And now you see the music change a little bit when you enter the fight, because the music is evolutive considering the situation where you are. So, yeah.
It's basically 2 tracks running at the same time, then just mute one or the other, depending on if you are exploring or are in a fight. And whenever you are in a fight, like more percussions and everything starts kicking in, and it's like really nice. I really love it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the game looks fantastic, but on top of that, with the great music, it's just I love running it.
This is basically the reason why I started to play, because I was so in love by all of the art in these games. Even I don't pushing it to the max level like Cadarev and yourself. But I don't even use the Fury mode, because I die too much, I guess.
Yeah, speaking again of the modes, not only is Fury mode an insta-kill mode, it also means that the bosses have a little bit less health than they would on normal mode. So if you're playing optimally, basically Royal Joker pace or anything, it is faster to play on Fury mode than it is on normal mode. So that is why all the world records or the top runners are playing on Fury mode, because they have to. Which is another thing that I didn't know in the beginning, and I started on Fury mode, and then I got a little bit lazy and switched back to normal. I was wondering why I could never beat my times, because I was just minutes behind at that point, and I had no idea why that was happening.
Because you have to get good to be fast.
Also that, I guess. Okay, coming up is Nue. Oh my god, this is a very fun boss fight. Actually, this is the part, where we are supposed to get the soul swapping swords, because it is supposed to be in the storage house of its particular fellow here. However, before we are able to, talk to him and grab the sword, we get attacked by demons, one of which will be Nui, the next boss, and he's a pain.
First of all, it's a flying boss, so he's in the air. That means for most of the time we cannot use the classical combo with the sliding, and he have a very dangerous, this one, a 2-frame attack that's the claw, basically really difficult to dodge. You cannot dodge it by reflex, you just have to never be in this range of attack. And also have a spinning, when you get into some sort of a ball by a spinning ball, you have to be careful about right now.
Where is it going?
Interesting. So just pick him out,
he will just
teleport,
dive, and
that is you can get a few free hits in. So basically whenever Nue has his paw up, he's set to strike you, and that is where it gets really dangerous, because 2 strikes of that and your durability on the sword is gone. so it just melts away the durability of the weapons. You do want him to do the spinning attack because it means you will be able to get a couple of fewer hits in soon. He has one of two ways he does that when he's spinning. He's either doing the teleport, which we saw earlier, where he just falls to the ground. Obviously, he teleports to the ground and it does an attack. If you get hit by that, it instantly kills you because it completely breaks your sword. But after that, you have a window of vulnerability where you can just hit him when he's lying on the ground. Otherwise, if you're doing the spinning attack and he stays in the air, he shoots these blue fireballs at you, we just saw, and you have to deflect all of them to hit him out, to stun him out of it. Otherwise, if you miss a single one of them, he will go into this whirlwind attack, which once again just shreds your weapon durability, probably killing you on fueling mode once again.
So we see Cadarev using the Divine Moon to stagger the boss, and fortunately miss some extra damage for the stagger. That's too bad, but anyways.
And now Nui actually goes into a rage at about half health already, so now he is very dangerous, he is very fast, and this can be a very dicey fight.
Perfect, nice, he's stunning. So we saw Cadarev using the stones during this fight, the EO stones, to recover the Divine Moon that spam literally to stagger the boss for not allowing him to using this infamous claw attack that can literally destroy your katanas in a very, very short amount of times. The same for Homura Whetstones here. There we go for the very last life bars.
So we just have to kill him now, basically.
There we go, Divine Moon once again. That should be... Yes! That's enough.
Probably once more after that.
I would think so,
yeah.
That's another thing that you have to be a bit on the lookout, because if Nui is lying on the ground stunned, he will immediately transition into his rotating form when he gets up, which will damage your sword. So you have to be very careful that your sword has enough durability so you actually survive that. And that was pretty good.
That was really clean. This is always scary when after many Divine Moon and when you get run out of the stones like this. If it did not get stunned and choose for the claw, this is definitely a really critical situation.
Absolutely.
Because you literally don't have any energy on the katana, on the main katana you forged for this fight, and have to wait and probably survive and just hope he will do another things. So.
But zing! This guy didn't actually have the katana that we were looking for, so tough luck, I suppose. So what would be the next best thing to find a cursed sword when the guy who's supposed to have it doesn't have it?
I don't know, find another one, probably, I don't know, in hell?
That's exactly what we're going to do now. You know, we didn't find it here, so we might as well go to hell and find it there, right? That's just a logical conclusion that we go to.
Yeah, definitely. So this is literally that now we have to find a way to go into the hell to find another demon blade to literally
transfer the souls back and forth.
Exactly. So the next area we begin to start to speak about the next boss area. The next boss area have some enemies named Oni, who have a hell a lot of HP, as Ishmael said earlier during this run. And we definitely never ever want to fight against them. So this is every time we dive into a fight or Oni, this is a mandatory smoke bomb moment.
Yeah.
So this is why we will be into this area with, of course, the ninja heart and a lot of smoke bombs to deal with every single fight. There is one possibility to have a fight without Oni, but that's really rare, with only tiny Oni. We already saw in these games, but this is kind of rare.
Yeah, especially when you're in the area, you're kind of used to smoke bombing everything. Yeah, exactly. So the worst that can happen is that you get the one good fight and you just smoke bomb it anyway, so it's wasted.
Because the way it works, basically, you get locked into a fight and you just, immediately press the trigger for the smoke because you want to get out of it.
No fight.
And then you see all the small ones walking in and it's like, oh no! Why did I do that? Why didn't I wait that 1 second to not use the smoke bomb? And I was like, it's always heartbreaking. But hey, it is what it is. And hey, Omi, the worst region in the game, in my opinion. Because the problem is, you can probably already tell it, you can't exactly tell what's in the foreground and what's in the background, like which branches you can walk on and which are just, hanging out in the background, literally. Yeah. I mean, obviously, when you know the area, you know that, but it's just such a hard area to navigate just with the jumping and everything. And if you get a fight here, you obviously also do not want to take it because the fighting areas are just scuffed. It's like all over the place and getting a good hit on enemies.
Well, this one is
okay. It's okay. We would take that one.
Because that can be useful for cooking. And also, but you cannot fall. in the void or some stuff like this. There is always a ground behind you.
Yeah.
We are not really in the platforming games basically.
And also, to be fair, this is like one of my least favorite songs in the game. So
It adds up.
Having a bit of a bad area, so to speak, with a meh song is always like.
Yeah. And now you can see why it can be really bad. Like you get stuck in one part, and
They just keep jumping around. They're out of reach. You can't really.
Yes!
Oh!
One.
I guess Omi just relieved itself.
This is also why we doesn't want to smoke ninjas, because they can drop a ninja smoke.
Unless there are some of the flying ninjas, as I said earlier, or some of the silver ones, which kind of act in the same way. They have more HP than the blue ones, and they also can throw bombs first and foremost, which can break your blade. And if you kill them, they explode, which can again break your blade. So they are very dangerous and long-living enemies.
That's kind of weird because it's also a tiny explosion that deal a hell amount of damage. Oh, ninja again! Let's go.
Oh, 6 more chances.
I believe it. This will blink. Blink! No.
Thank you for trying.
I tried.
I mean, we were lucky ones, right?
True. So that's it for this run.
How much more can you expect?
So the map we didn't speak about that. The map at the middle of the screen is kind of useful. There is 3 setup of them. We can block the map basically. It also have screen air at full screen. That's the best way is just to let the map like this, but it's sometimes kind of useful if you're lost to show the map entirely. But some area are really not too difficult. They are a big line, but some others like this one are stacked in 3 different lines, so that's sometimes kind of difficult to know exactly where to navigate, because as you can see now the red flags see you to go to the right, but basically you just have to go down before going to the right at this moment. Yeah, just here.
We won't do that just yet though, because we have another shop coming up. We'll stock up on smoke bombs and a couple other things that we need for the rest of the run. But I think this is the largest shopping that we do during the run, more or less. So yeah, more smoke bombs.
Sadly, it doesn't have cabbage. It would be really nice, but oh well.
There is a one at Act 7, if I'm right. We go pass through at Act 8 or 7, I don't remember. We have a lot of cabbage to buy, because it's need 2 cabbage to cook the ninja hearts and not only 1.
Yeah, and you may have noticed, like, items in this game generally are capped at 9, so you can't have more than 9. I have 8 right now, because the worst thing, like the worst feeling you can have is you are capped at 9 smoke bombs and then one of the ninja drops once. And
exactly. That is why you basically only go up to 8. So you have, the possibility to pick up 1 more by chance. But, as you can see, the game is just a merciless mistress for us right now.
This is a really random based run. This is also why this speedrun is interesting, because you cannot learn scriptedly every single fight. You just have to fight them as fast as possible. Oh, this is a really important equip here. The Chaos Mask give you a lot of different stats.
I think it's +3 strength and vitality.
Exactly.
So that just allows us to equip higher level blades than we would actually be able to at this point in time, because we're only level 15.
Exactly, and there is one very important blade that we need for boss number 7.
Also, did you know the way to go to hell is you literally just jump down a well? You literally just fall down a well and you end up in hell. I mean, it makes sense because it's kind of the same thing, but yeah.
I was so close already.
So yeah, this is the only fight that you want to see while you're on hell with these little Oni, because you can kill them pretty easily, but once you see the big guys coming in from left and right, that is an absolute smoke bomb time. You can have about 6 fights, I want to say, down here at the worst, so that is why we want these 6 smoke bombs at the least.
Yep.
Yeah, you can kind of see them coming in from the right there, and as soon as you see them, or as soon as you hear them even, you just smoke bomb, because you do not want to fight at all, ever.
Oops. There is also some of those enemies in Act 7. This is why we say Act 6 and 7. Yeah. So basically the path in hell is easy, honestly. Every time you see a possibility to going down, you're going down, because we are in hell.
Okay, so we have used 2 smoke bombs already.
Yeah, let's hope. let's hope only. I say 4.
A 4 is like the middle that you would need, you know, to do some. Okay, that was number 3. So 4 is like the average that you would need to get through this area safely. 6 is basically the very high end, but you can get as low as 2 or 3, which is very lucky.
Yeah. That's happened sometimes.
Yeah. Very rare though.
No, nothing.
Nothing. There's even 2.
Yeah,
that was the 4th one.
Oh no.
Yeah, it should be fine, right?
Yeah, that's
I think
fine.
there's one more scripted fight at the end though, isn't there?
Yeah, there's one scripted
So it will
fight.
be at least 5, I think.
Can probably go for a donation before the big fight. No fight yet. If we have.
7 Repentance 7 donated $5. I'll admit it. I was wrong. Ninjas can drop smoke bombs, huh? I guess the probability is around 1/8192. Totally random number not related to any existing game series. Whoa.
Okay, yeah, we used 5 smoke bombs in this area alone, and we will need another, you know, similar amount for the next boss section in the 7th chapter. So this is really rough, at least, you know, on the economy, because you need a lot of money and all, drop luck in order to have the required amount of smoke bombs.
So Oni, the big Oni, this one, is also a really interesting boss. There is
Actually, you have to fight this one for once.
yeah.
You can't skip that one. Just drop a smoke bomb.
You have a really interesting we have a really interesting way to fight this boss, because we will be hit by the boss at the beginning during a cutscene, so we are into the stomach, but we cannot get poison in the stomach, so that's a kind of good situation in Fury mode, basically. So we would like to rebuild these situations as soon as the boss will let you going out, but of course, once again, we use the strat by waiting the life bar here. There we go.
Also, I just love the beginning of this fight, you know, because, you know, Jinkuro is in control of Momohime, and Momohime doesn't want to fight all the Oni. She just takes control and is like, no, I will talk to these guys. They will be reasonable, and just immediately gets eaten.
So now the boss, because we use a lot of stagger against him, will try to hit us, and that's exactly what we... Oh, shit! One of the tiny Oni pushed us, so that's a bad situation now.
So that's like the thing, you know, we are kind of safe while we are in his stomach to all the attacks that could actually hurt and kill us. So we do want to be grabbed when he does that. However, you know, obviously you need to block the attacks of the small Oni, otherwise you would just die because you're on 1 HP. However, every time you block, Momohime gets pushed out of position. So with very bad luck, as we just saw, you will just get pushed out just before that grab happens. And
that's not so bad. So now we are back into the stomach. This is the situation that we really want to happen most of the time. Unfortunately, unfortunately, the end of these fights have to be outside the stomach. So this will be we hope the only moments that Cadarev have to fight the boss with all of the over patterns. Once again, it triggered the grab by staggering the boss from the head. And there we go.
So another thing that can happen is if a small Oni stands close to you, it would actually get grabbed as well and be inside the stomach. And fun fact, if you do not kill these, you know, just get spit out again, they will still be in there if you go back in. So you know, you have to be a little bit careful about that on Fury mode.
So once again, is enough, and there we go for the very last part of the fight. No, so
this
now,
is very dangerous.
Yeah, now the Oni will not grab us. It will go for all of the pattern. And the thing in this fight, if the Oni see you, it will enrage immediately and go for crazy pattern. And to disable that, you have to get hidden by all of those skulls on the ground. So at the moment Cadarev see that the Oni will enrage, he will just, there we go.
Yeah, it's like his enrage is not triggered by his health bar, but more if he sees you or not. And if he sees you, he just immediately enrages and does a huge attack. There's a couple of different ones that he can do, but all of them will break your blade. And, you know, as we established a couple of times, that would instantly kill you. So not only is this a pretty long boss fight, it's clocking in around, I don't know, 3 minutes or so. If you get hit right at the end of it, you have to do it all over again.
So we're just going back and in, back and in.
That's another fun fact that we can point out at this point is, you know, you see us use our recipes, you know, the cabbage stew and the pheasant stew before fights, especially before boss fights. The problem is
bad.
if you die, you lose that buff and have to cook them once again before you go back in, and that can be a huge drain on your resources because we do not have a lot of backups for our food items over the course of the run. So if you keep on dying during the boss fights,
There we go.
that's not great. Well, that was a pretty good fight.
That was scary on the very last one because you probably try to deal with him without another cycle, but
I tried to jump away, but because one of the sickles of these guys hit me, I had to block it, so we stood up there. Yeah.
Also, another disappointment because once again, we won't find the sword that we're looking for. We can't transfer the souls again because we'll actually meet the big guy, that we found at the end of chapter 5. He is in hell now because he died. The bastard, there he is. And he tells us, yeah, I never had the sword, so it's actually not in hell. Sorry, dude. And so what would be the next best thing to do? We didn't find the sword on Earth. We didn't find it in hell. So logically, we decide to become a demigod by bursting into heaven. So let's do that. Now, trick question. Okay, we drop down into a well to go to hell. How do we go to heaven?
I don't know. Probably going behind, those story door.
You need these story gates, yes, but you also just have to climb a mountain. I mean, that's just the easiest way to do that,
right? That seems to be easy. Oh yeah, this is on the top of the mountain. I totally forgot about.
So this sword will be handy, hopefully.
Basically, the Water Witch Blade is the one sword that we kind of want because it has one of the best.
I'll find it.
Mystic Art.
Oh, I know what's the issue.
You need it.
Didn't equip it for the boss fight. No wonder it did so little damage. No.
Am I not seeing it? What is happening? Where is the blade? I'm so confused.
Did you not forge it?
I already have it equipped. What? Okay, no, but I actually already want to kind of change my equip here because I don't want to forget about it later on. So I will actually de-equip the what am I doing? The one that buffs me. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's okay at this point because we are basically at the end of the run, more or less. We might have to buy a couple more smoke bombs for the next area, but we have 662 mon there, so that will be about 7 or 8 smoke bombs that we can afford, which is a lot, so we should be fine for the rest of the run money-wise at least. So it's totally fine to de-equip the Peony Blade at this point. Doesn't mean that we can just use our smoke bombs willy-nilly, because once again, during the next boss area, we need at least 6 of them again. And every smoke bomb that we have after that for the very last chapter of the game, because we're on chapter 7 now, the 8th chapter is the last chapter, will just save us time going through it.
Yeah, definitely. And also we speak about this very important katana. We can explain now for what. Basically, the boss number 7 is probably, it's really random. Sometimes
she can just screw you over totally. You can be on world record pace here, and she just says, nope, not having it.
Honestly, if the boss the fight can be absolutely free if the boss choose the good pattern every time we
RNG. Hello.
And sometimes she just decide, no, this time you will not have a run. So. Oh,
I don't have a quick
Too bad.
This can be the best fight that you can have, or one of the worst fights. It's the best fight if you have the eye draw right at the beginning of it. But if you do not, it is just very hard to chase down all of these little enemies on screen. The good thing is, once you've used the eye draw once, you've killed enough enemies to immediately get a second one back. So you can just use it again and get rid of the rest of them. However, that obviously doesn't refill your eye draw immediately. So you won't have it for the next fight or so. Also, the whetstone, Cadarev just picked up the Uchimura whetstones, is one, or rather the most important item that we need for the very final boss of the run. We can pick up about 5 of them over the course of chapter 6 to 8, and you want to get all of them, because if you miss a single one of them, the last boss fight can go off the rails pretty quickly.
Yeah. This is, we will use the combination of those stones and a special attack of one of the other katanas that literally make a very easy strat and very fast strat for the very last boss of the game.
Yes.
This is why for sure any percent Momohime category is way more interesting than Kizuke, because there is but you will say exactly the same things. It's because for boss 7, boss 8, boss 4, boss 3 also, there is so many speedrun strat and in very inventive one, considering combination of item and a special attack of a katana that can make this runs really, I mean, technical and also stable.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, Kisuke's Run, you know, the other character that you can play in this game, he's a fun character to use as well. It controls mostly the same, however, his speciality, so to speak, or rather, his forge tree is mostly laden with the long swords.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't think we've actually talked about this earlier, but there are two different sword types in the game. The short swords, or the normal katanas, and the long swords. You can actually differentiate between them if we have a look at the weapon selection in the top middle there.
For example,
you see these crossed, or the sword with the sheath crossed over. That means it's a short sword, and you have the other one that kind of sticks out of the screen a little bit. That means it's a long sword. And the long swords deal more damage. However, they have very long attack animations, and you tend to twirl around a little bit, and they have really long recovery frames after that as well, which actually decreases their DPS by a lot. So you do not want to use them if you can. However, Kisuke has a lot of them, so you actually tend to use them, because otherwise, if you're just sticking to these short swords, which are actually better, it would deal less damage because they are so far in the beginning of the tree that over the course of the run, your DPS would just drop massively if you were not using the long swords. And like Etienne just said, we are actually the only ones who have runs of Kisuke on the leaderboards, because every other sane person runs Momohime. Because his boss fights are also just, they are a pain most of the time. It's
Especially the second one, who's really random.
Hey!
Hey! Oh! Speaking of randomness.
I think we just talk more about Kisuke making the smoke bomb stuff from Momohime.
Yeah. Basically, now all we have to do in this axis is go as fast as possible to the boss area, and do not forget to grab many stones that now we have in this area.
Never done that before.
This is really easy when you dive into the speedruns into the 80% Momohime to forgot basically one of those stones, or save, for example, here. That's a huge mistake because you want to being warp back with the mirror, bronze mirror from
the area before.
from the area before, because the end of the game is right to the left.
Yes.
Yeah, like we said, every single save that Cadarev takes isn't for safety or anything. It is because of the routing that we do to get the maximum amount of usage out of our bronze mirrors at the end of every chapter, where we have to use them. Otherwise, we'd have to walk back through the boss area, through the area that we were just in, to our new goal.
Exactly.
It just cuts down on a lot of travel time. There's
So we need this stone, Chimera stone, the most powerful stone, because it's literally that we will use, as you said, all of them on the very last side. Yeah. Before we enter the Heaven, we will probably have a good timing for a tiny donation.
Anonymous donated $5. Momohime is cute.
No, she is. She definitely is. Can confirm.
And we are getting close to the Heaven. So in events, there is also there will be a new enemy that we never see. That's the butterfly, a poison butterfly, but they spend poisons. So basically, because once again we are in Fury mode, that do not deal any damage. In Over mode, the poison is kind of annoying sometimes, but not in this mode. Fortunately, because that would be.
I mean, if poison would be able to kill you in this game, there was just no thanks.
It was a good idea to disable that for this. For this
I mean, kind of just enough smoke bombs to still make it through, the actual important part where he needs the smoke bombs. Because we're not technically in heaven yet, we're making our way there. But
but I can feel it coming. I can feel heaven coming up.
Okay. Oh, so these are all the Torii gates, and now we're on heaven.
Yeah.
Hello. That was easy.
There is also a possibility to use a ninja heart to pass through this section.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I totally didn't forget about it. Okay.
To decrease, of course, the amount of fight you want to.
Nope.
Tengu is also very bad. Those ones, purple ones, red ones have a little bit more HP than the blue ones we see at the beginning of the game. Some swap color, Some color swap.
Interesting thing is, you just saw these butterflies on screen. And again, it's one of these fights where you don't have to fight any enemies and you can still progress towards your goal. However, if you were to kill one of these butterflies, which is very easy with your air dashes because they basically have no health whatsoever, you do get the end of fight screen, which loses you a little bit of time because you have to mash through it. So optimally, Cadarev doesn't want to kill any of these butterflies when he is doing his dashes through those screens, which can be a little bit hard because they are in the way and there are
We'll
many
probably
of them.
kill one of them. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, you will basically see it at the end of this screen then when he leaves it and he gets the end of fight screen. There we go.
There we go.
It loses you a second or two. It's not that much, but it's a small optimization to not hit any of the butterflies here.
And we getting close. Is this very last room?
Yeah, this is the last one. Okay.
Oh god, I forgot this room existed. I always swapped to the whetstone.
Yep, that is happening now. So we are into Raijin, the second to last boss of the run, and she can just say no to you.
Yeah.
Like, she can just say no, and there's nothing you can do about it, and this fight will just run.
Also, again, if you're sensitive to anime, then this boss fight might not be for you.
Yeah.
There is some slap in this fight. So basically what Cadarev will do is try to stagger the boss immediately at the beginning of the fight. So to pushing Erigo into the corner and using the Azzy Slash Erigo to
There we go.
stagger
Okay,
her.
perfect.
And now using the combo with 3 hits and slide, 3 hits and slide, and hope when she stands that she will not teleport and stay on the ground to once again stagger her. So let's see. Yes,
yes.
perfect.
Nice. So the thing is, with the Hazy Slash, you have to use it twice to stagger Raijin. However, you can only use Hazy Slash while you are on the ground, like being on the actual ground or on one of these clouds that serve as platforms. However, Raijin is a flying boss, so she can just decide to, teleport around the room or just fly off, where you cannot use the Hazy Slash to stun her. And this fight can become very dangerous. So optimally, she will just, get up and stay in place where she just is and not teleport to another part of the room where we cannot use Hazy Slash to immediately ground her again.
I'm also swapping to my second short sword here, just so the first one can recover, like the Soul Age.
For the moment, this is the perfect fight. Basically, she decided to do not teleport. Let's keep hoping that will continue.
Well,
Yeah.
and here's the issue, like I can do one Hazy Slash to the side here,
But then it will fall
the
flat.
other one.
And these blue balls are very dangerous. They deal a lot of durability damage to your blades.
Yeah.
So this is a very sticky situation. So Cadarev just doing his best to
Yes.
hit her with Mystic Arch, which actually give you a little bit of vulnerability to ground her again as fast as you can. So good recovery there. You got a couple more free hits in and we're down to the last health bar. So let's see what she does one last time. Please stay down, lady.
Just stay on the ground, please. Yes.
Okay. Oh, very good. So
that's
this should
be
optimally be the end of the fight, right?
This is a really good raging fight, honestly.
Very good
This is awesome.
That was by far the one I was most worried about. Like 2 days ago, I could not kill this boss. It was panicking.
She have a lot of different patterns. She have a diving kick. She have a punch that instantly kill you. She have
she can cover herself in lightning.
She have a hell a lot of different patterns. Very long that can kill you in one hit. Basically.
I was just gonna say, it's not only that all of her patterns can kill you in one hit, they also take a long time before you can actually start to even try and hit her again. So that's just a massive time loss every time she does not behave.
And this is also as we can call the very last run killer of this runs, because as we say, we have a very interesting and very fast strategy for the very last boss of the game, considering the fact you keep all of the stones correctly. But now we are back in this last.
Just to catch you up on the story real quick here, what happened? Okay, we tried to go into heaven to become a demigod, so we actually, have unlimited lifespan, so to speak, because still Momohime's soul isn't inhabiting her body. Jinkuro is still. And it kind of takes the drain on Momohime's physical body, so it's basically withering away. So we need to get Momohime's original soul back into her body, otherwise she will die. And since Jinkuro is in the body, that means he would die as well. So we tried to become a demigod to become immortal. However, even though we defeated Raijin, she still said no and basically expelled us from heaven. So our only last recourse is to now go to that temple, which name I just forgot. We will be there in a moment. But basically, we can go to that temple, and there is a second gateway into heaven right there. So we are trying to basically get back into heaven once more.
This is the Temple of Rongo, if I'm right.
Yeah, it's a Rengo.
Yeah, it's
You can tell me anything.
Yeah, we will see it. It's actually kind of interesting because if any of you guys have played Sekiro, it is actually the exact same temple that you go to in Sekiro to get the immortal.
Please let me down. Please. It's okay.
It's okay. Just
I just want to go down and pick this up. Please. The thing is, I have to keep blocking. So. Did I pick it up? Yes. Okay.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is where again, the controls can get a little bit floaty because the problem is if you hold down the attack button to block and then move to any direction in the air, you will always do the air dash, and that will always travel you a set distance in the air, and you cannot control. I mean, you can control it, but you can't control the distance. And if you just want to go a little bit to the left or right because you need to go, but you also need to block, it's just hell to go ahead and pick up that item if they just spam the screen with their blue projectiles there.
And another board that will die for nothing.
I will have leftover money. I was too conservative with my smoke bombs, I think, but I'd rather have it this way than...
That is like just the thing with this game, right? We were in a very bad situation smoke bomb-wise in the beginning of the run, and that makes you be very cautious about your usage of them, so you tend to not use them, like, quote-unquote at all, unless you really, really have to, but then you end the run with, like, I don't know, 8 of them or something, and I was like, I could have used all of those to skip a couple more fights to save about, I don't know, 2 minutes or so if I've just used all of them.
Basically now with 9 smoke bomb, considering also the fact that
if they drop one, I'm gonna be mad. I'm just gonna be mad.
You just set yourself up for exactly that happening, right?
They would never do that. See?
That should have been so funny.
Oh my god, it's just horrible.
And also, even if we have 9 smoke bomb right now, there is still some smoke bomb into the very last area waiting for us. So basically now, if Cadarev see even a fight that's not that hard, he can smoke bomb at it. Especially because the access of the very last boss area is one of the worst, those things in the tree.
This is actually a chunky temple. Like if you compare just the size of it to any other boss area we've been through, like they have about 10 to 15 screens, I want to say, that we go through. That last area, that temple that we're going to, has I think 32.
Yeah,
it is massive.
Big. It is the double amount of rooms that's having classical temple area. So yeah, this is
Shingon Renge. Exactly, that's it.
There we go. So you can also smoke bombs in those screens, but that's absolutely useless. That just disable all of the enemies.
I mean, they're not that dangerous. You can mostly just, go past them and you save the smoke bomb because you can leave the screen anyway.
So basically, this is really...
Nope. Not taking that.
The movement of this game, especially in the air, are really satisfying when you get into it, because basically you have a double jump, but also free air dash, and a lot of possibility to do some juggles. A slash that driving you immediately to the ground and some stuff. So, yeah, dive into these games and being good at fighting is definitely a great thing to do, considering also the fact there is a lot of randomness. Just launching a run at the beginning and going for no reset and just see the timing you get is definitely something really satisfying to do as a speedrun. But really hard to grind, of course, because this is a lot of reset.
Yeah. Well, like we just said, the RNG is just brutal in this game. It can totally screw you over. It can be very heavily in your favor as well. Most of the time, obviously, will be somewhere in the middle with it. But if you want to go for an actual world record run of this, you need to have good RNG. But also, not only do you need good RNG, you also need to be good at the game and know, what the strategies and everything is. So it's tough.
Wait.
Yeah, there's an item you can.
I wanted to grab it through the ceiling, but I forgot about it. I think it's up here, right?
Yeah, it's here. You can grab those items from
below.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very important one. There's also a smoke bomb that you can grab exactly with the same. Just after that, exactly in the same positions. Basically, it's not hard as a timing. You just have to jump, touch the top of the level with your head, and pressing A at the sub button. You can also spam, and that's really grab the item.
Like the fight with the 3 monks right here is probably the easiest fight in this area to get through. So
if you don't mess it up, that is.
That is generally the fight that you will probably take because you don't know what. I mean, you can know what else is coming, but you don't know when it will happen. So but there's another fight with like 6 monks, which obviously, you know, takes double the amount of time or so
And
to
here's
defeat
the
all of them.
smoke bomb.
There we go. First try.
Or you can also fight more samurai, which are kind of easy, but take a long time because you have to break the blades first. Or you can fight a lot of these silver ninjas, which we talked about earlier, which you definitely want to skip.
Yeah. Silver Ninja is a mandatory smoke in this very last level. If you have the quick draw, that's not the case actually. You can use it to break instantly the sword of those samurais.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't have a lot of HP, so they are not.
I mean, if you have the eye draw ability,
Yeah,
you would probably take the samurai fight. Otherwise,
And we get it now. But there is probably, I think there is a scripted monk soon. There is some fight are still scripted at this moment. So we can probably start to speak a little bit about the final boss of this run, Fudomio. So he is a god. Normally, he's as a god, and it's a really that was the script.
interesting fight.
Yeah, it's a platforming fight basically. When the camera is zoom out a little bit, and you have to break many different weak points by dealing with 2 heads that's flying across the fight. So it's a really long fight, very dangerous because there is a lot of rock falling down. But basically, by using one of the katanas that can hit an enemy everywhere on the map, the flash abilities, that's use of course a lot of your souls. But using that in combination with the Chimery stones, you have infinite souls for a certain amount, and with 5 of them, you can deal with with all of the weak points of the boss in just staying on the ground for a long time. So we will just see Cadarev spamming the ability of the katanas and refill it with the stones every time the previous ones will go out, and deal entirely with the boss like that without doing any platforming at all.
So basically what you want to do during the fight, you want to destroy the statue. However, it has 6 seals, that is foot, knee, abdomen, I think it's the elbow, fist, and the head. And there are 2 ads flying around. And the way it works is you kill one of the ads and one of the barriers goes down, so you can then destroy that particular body part. You have to kill each ad once because they disable different barriers. At the beginning it's the foot and the knee. And once you destroy the foot and the knee by killing each ad at least once, killing both of them then will unlock the abdomen that you can destroy. Once you've destroyed the abdomen, you have to kill each one separately again to destroy then the elbow and the fist. And once those 2 are down, you have to kill both of them at the same time again to then destroy the head. And that is why we use what Etienne just described. We just use the Uchimonji stone, equip the Water Witch Blade, and just spam that attack that can hit anything anywhere. The problem with that is it is random what it will target. So it can either target the ads or one of the seals, or the thing that got guarded by the seals. So optimally, it will target the ad, kill it, and then target whatever seal we just unlocked to kill it then. If it just keeps targeting one of the seals, which are invulnerable, that is not so great for us because we only have a limited amount of these stones.
There we go.
So there we go. Another thing is obviously these ads will attack us. Again, any of these attacks will instantly kill us. We are invulnerable while we are spamming the Water Witch Blade special attack.
Once again.
But there are also like these rocks that actually come falling down at random patterns, and you need a second or 2 to use another Uchimori stone, during which point you are vulnerable, and also your blade may have a little vulnerability left, so you can actually not block them. So it can be a little bit dicey to having to use another Uchimonji stone at a very, bad timing, so to speak. So, yeah, fingers crossed that this goes well.
That's everything going well.
I think we already destroyed the foot and the knee, if we see that correctly in the background.
We actually on the...
We did kill one ad, you can see that with just these... okay, the barrier destroying his torso. Okay, it was not yet done with the torso, so we can now target the torso to destroy it. Hopefully we got that. So now the next would be the elbow and the fist, or whatever it actually is up there.
There remains 2 stone.
Okay, the right hand. Yeah, exactly. Okay, it was the right hand or left one.
So now
it's destroyed, so we can destroy that if our ability wants to target that.
One of the ones that seems to be going well. That's probably remains the head now. No.
Left arm. Okay, left arm was still up, so we're not onto the head yet.
That's will be close. They have to die. Both of. Okay, the very first one is dead. The second. Okay, the
head is coming up. Time is coming up.
Yes.
Okay.
Time. There we go.
Time will be once we get out of the ending screen.
Time. This is a deathless run, by the way.
Yes.
So, like I said, this may look very boring if you think of a last boss fight. You just stand there and spam it and spam it and spam it. There's
sometimes
so
that's
much
going
things
wrong.
that can go wrong there. And if you
Yeah.
want to do this fight normally, it is hell to get through. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was a thing.
This is a really good run for marathon, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy with that. Maybe should have started de-rusting a bit earlier, but that's let's not talk about. Yeah, that ran really well. I am really happy with this, and also very happy with the commentary because I pretty much didn't have to say anything, so that helped a lot.
A very bad RNG considering the fight. Also, lots of ghosts, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
This is.
It just, it's only ever a small time loss, but it just keeps adding up because, this is a 1.5 hour run. You will have a lot of these fights happening.
No, that was great. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks ESA for letting us show this game. And that's pretty much it, I think, unless you want to say something.
I mean, we talked about a lot how hard this run can be, how RNG heavy it is, but still, it's just a lot of fun to play this game because it looks gorgeous, it has a fantastic soundtrack, the actual gameplay is just fun to do. So, if you do want to speedrun that, reach out to us, join the Discord, and run this game because it's great.
Yeah, I also maybe want to apologize to Eshma. He suggested that we run this, and I couldn't take that. I was just, with the RNG involved, I'm sorry I had to decline, but yeah, maybe in the future.
We can go back to that. Just have one run with good RNG, the other with bad RNG,
Exactly,
and just
perfect.
see them finish with like, I don't know, a 20-minute separate time or something.
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
All right. See you on. Bye, everybody.